Country music has always been sold to the public as a blend of innocence, hard work, and small-town values. The rhinestones, the cowboy boots, the twang of the guitar, everything was marketed as wholesome and deeply rooted in tradition. But the truth beneath the glitter was far more complicated. Behind the wide smiles and honey-coated voices were women whose lives carried stories too scandalous for daylight. There were whispered affairs passed in smoky bars, rumors exchanged in the backrooms of Nashville, and gossip that clung to their names long after the music stopped. These women weren't just singers. They were icons, divas who shaped entire eras of country music while carrying the burden of a gossip industry that insisted they had slept with everyone. Their talent was undeniable, but so was the scrutiny. Every duet, every stage performance, every smile directed at a male collaborator became fodder for speculation. The whispers grew into headlines, the headlines became part of their myths, and their personal lives were dissected as much as their art. From stormy marriages to public divorces, from real affairs to rumors invented simply to sell papers, their stories became inseparable from their songs. Looking back, it becomes clear that these women didn't just sing about heartbreak, betrayal, and passion. They lived it, and sometimes survived it only by turning the pain into music. The story begins with Jessie Coulter, born Miriam Johnson in Phoenix, Arizona. She entered the outlaw country movement at a time when women were nearly invisible. That world was rough, unapologetic, dominated by men like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and Chris Christopherson. Jessie, however, carved out her place with grace and fire. Her marriage to Waylon Jennings created one of country's most iconic couples. Together, they looked unstoppable, a power pair that fans idolized. But behind the curtain, Nashville's rumor mill ran over time. Jessie's closeness with Willie, Chris, and others she collaborated with created gossip that followed her like a shadow. The outlaw scene was notorious for blurred boundaries, where late-night jam sessions turned into all-night parties. In that haze of whiskey, smoke, and rebellion, the lines between professional and personal blurred, and people whispered that Jessie was involved with more than just her music partners. Whether or not those stories were true hardly mattered. They stuck to her name for decades. For many, Jessie Coulter was Waylon's loyal wife and a star in her own right, with songs like I'm Not Lisa proving she could stand toe-to-toe with anyone. For others, she was the woman at the center of the outlaw circle who supposedly shared beds as often as microphones. It was a narrative she never asked for, but one she carried alongside her achievements. Wanda Jackson's path was different, but no less scandalous. Known as the Queen of Rockabilly, she emerged in the 1950s when women weren't expected to strap on guitars and dominate stages. But Wanda did, breaking the mold early and never looking back. Touring with Elvis Presley gave her career momentum and sparked one of the most famous relationships in country and rock history. She openly dated Elvis, and even after their romance ended, her name was forever attached to his in countless stories. Wanda's mix of rock and country made her a rebel, both musically and personally. She married Wendell Goodman and stayed with him for decades, yet her long marriage never erased the wild reputation built in her youth. For years, tabloids claimed she had been romantically involved with nearly every male musician she toured with. On stage, she looked glamorous, untouchable, a figure of both beauty and power. Off stage, the rumors painted her as reckless, free, and insatiable. By the time Wanda was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, her myth had grown into something larger than life. People no longer asked whether she had loved or left certain men. They simply assumed. For fans, the scandal added to her allure. For Wanda herself, the gossip may have been exhausting, but it never dimmed her shine. She became not just a pioneer, but one of the original divas accused of being with everyone. Crystal Gale seemed like the least likely candidate for scandal. With her floor-length hair and silky pop-country sound, she projected elegance rather than chaos. As the younger sister of Loretta Lynn, Crystal began her career under the weight of constant comparisons. To escape her sister's shadow, she leaned toward crossover hits with a smooth, glamorous polish. Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue turned her into an international star. Her marriage to Bill Gatzimos in 1971 became one of country music's most stable unions, lasting decades. On paper, she lived a quiet life, faithful, consistent, devoted. Yet the press never left her alone. Her beauty, her striking presence, and her collaborations with male stars became fertile ground for speculation. Tabloids didn't need messy divorces or public fights. Crystal's long hair alone made her iconic enough to justify a cover, and once she was on the cover, the rumors followed. The gossip claimed that despite her wholesome image, she too was linked to men behind closed doors. There was never any proof, but the mythology of Nashville's women insisted she couldn't escape the label. Even a woman who gave the press nothing still ended up painted with the same brush. Leanne Rimes, unlike Crystal, never had the luxury of stability. She was thrown into the spotlight as a child prodigy, storming the charts at just 13 with her haunting voice. Compared to Patsy Cline before she even finished high school, Leanne became one of the youngest Grammy winners in history. Fame hit fast, and it hit hard. Her personal life soon outpaced her music in headlines. At 19, she married backup dancer Dean Sheramet. By her 20s, she was embroiled in one of the most explosive scandals of the 2000s, her affair with actor Eddie Cibrian, who was married at the time. The revelation shattered her marriage, wrecked his, and consumed the tabloids for years. Even after marrying Cibrian, the rumors never stopped. Every friendship with a male co-star, every collaboration became an excuse for speculation. Whether true or not, Leanne was branded as reckless, a diva who couldn't escape the narrative of sleeping with everyone. Her immense voice was often matched by equally large tabloid headlines, and unlike some women who denied everything, Leanne's willingness to live openly with her choices only kept the fire burning. Wynonna Judd carried a different burden. As one half of the Judds, she and her mother Naomi became a force of the 1980s, singing songs about family, resilience, and heartland values. Their harmonies were legendary. But Wynonna's personal life became a different kind of headline. Her first marriage, to Arch Kelly, ended quickly. Her second, to bodyguard D.R. Roach, collapsed in scandal after his arrest on child sex charges. The fallout devastated her. She would later remarry musician Cactus Moser, but the scars of betrayal and heartbreak lingered. Added to that were countless rumors of affairs, whispered romances, and speculation about her private demons. For Wynonna, every song of survival felt autobiographical. The gossip columns suggested she was yet another diva tangled in endless affairs. But what her music revealed was a woman battling chaos, heartbreak, and the weight of her family's very public struggles. If Wynonna represented survival through pain, Dolly Parton represented survival through grace. Dolly was untouchable, a goddess of country whose larger-than-life personality made her both saint and siren. Married to Carl Dean since 1966, she insisted her husband preferred to stay out of the spotlight. That secrecy only fueled curiosity. Her collaborations with Porter Wagoner, Kenny Rogers, and even Hollywood stars like Burt Reynolds led to decades of speculation. Was she faithful? Was she hiding something? Dolly denied the rumors with wit and humor. She once admitted to an emotional affair, but never more. And when asked about the constant gossip, she joked, "If I'd done half of what people say I've done, I'd never get out of bed." The laughter didn't silence the tabloids, but it gave her control. Dolly leaned into the myth, becoming both the diva accused of sleeping with everyone and the woman who remained untouchable. Tanya Tucker wore her scandals proudly. She burst onto the scene at 13 with Delta Dawn, becoming a child star who grew up too fast. By her 20s, she was already notorious. Her romance with Glenn Campbell was volatile, filled with fights, reconciliations, and public meltdowns. Unlike others who denied their reputations, Tanya embraced hers. She drank, partied, and laughed at the rumors. Linked to actors, musicians, and countless others, she became the bad girl of country. Her raw, emotional songs mirrored her chaotic personal life, and fans loved her for it. For tabloids, she was a dream. For Tanya, scandal was almost part of her brand. Reba McEntire, on the other hand, built an empire with discipline and ambition. She was the dependable redhead, the hardest worker in Nashville. Her marriage to Narvel Blackstock lasted over 2 decades, and her image as loyal queen of country seemed unshakable. But when their marriage ended in 2015, whispers surfaced about secrets behind the scenes. Narvel quickly moved on, and though Reba avoided messy public drama, rumors persisted that she had her own quiet romances over the years. Even Reba, the strongest and most focused of them all, couldn't entirely escape the myth that haunted every woman in Nashville. Faith Hill entered in the 1990s like a vision. Her beauty, her voice, and her marriage to Tim McGraw made her part of country's golden couple. Their duets dripped with chemistry, fueling endless speculation. Before Tim, she had a brief marriage to Daniel Hill, and after Tim, rumors swirled of jealousy, separations, and infidelity. Faith denied the gossip, but the damage was done. Even she was painted as a diva whose personal life was far messier than her fans wanted to believe. Shania Twain took the myth into the modern age. Bursting into Nashville from Canada, she reinvented country with pop hooks and sex appeal. Her marriage to producer Robert "Mutt" Lang, who helped craft her biggest hits, seemed unbreakable, until it wasn't. When Lang's affair with her close friend was revealed, her world collapsed. In a twist stranger than fiction, Shania later married that friend's ex-husband. The tabloids feasted on the love quadrangle. Alongside it came endless rumors about Shania's own supposed affairs, whispered connections with musicians and industry men. She denied them, but the drama left its mark. Loretta Lynn had lived through scandal before anyone. The coal miner's daughter sang about cheating men, birth control, and women fighting back in an era when female voices were silenced. Her marriage to Doolittle Lynn was turbulent, filled with infidelity and fights. Loretta admitted her songs came straight from her life. The tabloids hinted she had her own lovers, though nothing was ever proven. To the public, she was both saint and sinner, the loyal wife and the fearless fighter. By the time she was crowned a legend, the gossip was just another layer of her myth. And finally, Tammy Wynette, the woman who gave the world "Stand By Your Man." Tammy lived her songs of heartbreak. Married 5 times, including to George Jones, her relationships were volatile, filled with love and destruction. Her mysterious health struggles and dependence on painkillers only added to the drama. Her name was tied to countless men, some real, some imagined. Every heartbreak, every marriage, every tragedy fed the narrative that Tammy was another diva who had been with everyone. By the new millennium, the image of the country diva was complete, glamorous, complicated, and forever chased by whispers. The gossip often made them more relatable, even as it tried to reduce them. Beneath it all, the truth remained. They were survivors. Jessie proved women could thrive in the outlaw circle. Wanda fused country and rock when no one else dared. Crystal carved her own light. Leanne endured fame's darkest side. Wynonna fought demons and kept singing. Dolly turned rumors into jokes. Tanya embraced her chaos. Reba built an empire. Faith balanced fame and family. Shania reinvented the sound of country. Loretta spoke truths too bold for her time. Tammy transformed her heartbreak into immortal anthems. The label "diva who slept with everyone" was cruel, often baseless, but inevitable in a culture that punished women for desire while rewarding men for the same. In the end, their songs outlasted the scandals. Their voices cut through gossip. Their legacies endure. They lived lives as dramatic and daring as their music, and no rumor could ever erase that.